Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It's just a minute to a set time while we wait for more people to join us. Good evening and welcome, welcome, welcome. It's 7. Yes. Welcome to another interesting episode of Friday Night Hangout. Good evening, IJ. How are you? Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm excited. You can tell I'm excited. I'm excited tonight because it's a new day and it's a new opportunity that's been handed over to us to impact, right? So, welcome to another amazing episode of the Friday Night Hangout. Thank you so much,
Oh
IJ.
yeah, it's a Friday night. It's Friday night hangout. Let's celebrate. A season of new beginnings. Let's rejoice. Thank God it's Friday. It's Friday night hangout. Let's celebrate. A season of new beginnings. Let's rejoice. Thank God it's Friday.
Hangout. Yeah. I was just dancing to the music. Each time I listen to the Friday Night Hangout song, I just get excited and revved up in my spirit. Hey, Madam Nike, welcome. Thank you for joining us in. Welcome, welcome, amazing women, amazing men, beautiful tribe members. It's another Friday night hangout. Time for us to celebrate, time for us to enjoy, and of course, time for us to get new knowledge. And so, consistent with the theme for this month, remaining relevant in a changing world, we're going to be focusing on applying knowledge. Applying knowledge. And as I find this very intriguing to discuss tonight because um, we learn at different points in time. You're either learning formally or informally, but every day there is something new that you take away from the day, right? Either by virtue of the people you engage with, the situations you go through, there is some sort of new knowledge. Some of us are engaged in trainings, in coachings, in formal interactions, and you get to see new things. You get to experience new things. And when you get to experience, see, or feel those new things that you're picking up, how do you now take that new knowledge you've gained? How do you translate it into your everyday routine? This and more are what we're going to be discussing tonight on the Friday night hangout. And as usual, before we delve into our conversation, I always want to know how your day and your week has been. For most of us, Friday marks the end of an active work week and time to let down our hairs, time to relax. And so we usually say, thank God it's Friday. We get to hang out, we get to have this conversation, to be relaxed. This week has been very long, very hectic, but also very productive for me. How has your week been? Please use the comment section. Share with me how you're feeling, how your day has been, and of course, what are some of the high points for you this week, right? So, while I'm waiting that to come into the chat box, I will just jump right into the conversation and begin to explore how do we apply knowledge. It's a different thing to absorb information, and it's another thing entirely to apply what you've learned, right? It's so different. And so you may find that you're an individual. It's been an amazing week. Great. Awesome idea. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Amazing week. That's what I love to hear. Amazing, amazing week. Okay. So it's one thing to get new knowledge, it's another thing to apply them. And tonight we're going to be looking at some of the strategy you can deploy in implementing new knowledge. Why is it important to apply what you've learned? You can't really say you've understood something. You can't really say you know it if you've not implemented it successfully. So there are two different things: getting the knowledge or information and then applying them. So I'm going to be sharing with you some actionable advice that you can actually, implement to translate whatever you've learned into your everyday routine. So if you enroll for trainings, for coaching program, or you get new knowledge informally, if you adapt and implement some of what I'm going to share tonight, you will find yourself really soaring. So I always say that success is not a coincidence, it's an intentional effort. If you want to grow, you need to be ready to invest in yourself. And one way of investing in yourself is finding effective learning approaches, right? And so application of knowledge is very key. Those of us who are students who are in school, sometimes you see that the questions you're asked are applied knowledge, applied questions. Your examiner or your faculty wants to know how well you've understood what you've been taught. So it's not really a yes or no answer, but more of how do you apply the knowledge. And if you don't have a deep understanding of what the subject matter is, it's very difficult for you to profile a solution. And so the first thing I would say is, for you to have the skill set of applying knowledge, the first thing you need to ask yourself is the why. You would often hear me talk about the why. The why. Once you can identify and respond to your why, it becomes easier for you to move on your path of applying your knowledge. Now, you're learning something new, maybe a skill, maybe you're learning a new skill because there are current issues that you want to profile solutions to. So you want to learn a new skill. Now, the key question is, why do you need to learn that skill? Why do you need to, learn how to do that? Why is it important to you? Once you can figure out the why behind the learning, it becomes your platform, it becomes your motivation for applying whatever it is, you may have learned. The second thing you can do is to have an accountability or feedback partner. There are two core elements in effective learning, and these are accountability and feedback. Like I said, it's one thing to learn, it's another thing to apply the new knowledge. So you want to have a partner that would hold you accountable. But accountability starts from yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable first before looking at an accountability partner to hold you accountable. One of the things I like to do is, if I participated in a training, or I participate in a coaching session with my coach, what I would do is to find a partner I can discuss the new thing I have learned. I call it my aha moment, right? Some of the new things that came out for me. You find out that when you talk about something new you've learned, you entrench it in your memory. You make it stick. You make it stick. And for you to apply what you've learned, it needs to stick. It's not something that you cram, and that's why those that cram, cramming is just absorbing knowledge and pouring it out. After that time frame, they find it difficult to recollect, they find it difficult to do anything meaningful with what they've learned. So to apply new knowledge, you really need to make sure that you understand what you have been taught, you understand what the new thing that you've gotten from that incident, that interaction, and then you are able to move forward with it. From what you have learned, the next thing I would ask you to do is to set short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal. Welcome, goodness. Welcome, Izine. Nice to have you here on the show. And then you set out short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal. You know why? Setting out these goals is like you telling yourself, these are the things I want to achieve with the new knowledge. So it already pushes you towards implementation pathway. You've absorbed the information. How then do you translate it into your everyday life? Because that's what you want to do with it, right? You want to grow, you want to be successful, and probably that's why you're having yourself experience new things, learn new things, associate with new kind of people, be in certain networks. But beyond all of that, you want to take the information, you want to take the learnings and practice it. So give yourself targets. What do I want to achieve as a result of this new skill I've learned in the short term? What do I want to achieve midterm? What do I want to achieve long term? And when you can do this, it takes me to the next step, which is come up with an action plan for implementing your goals and review it. Hi, Ruka. Nice to have you on board. Nice to have you in here. So come up with an action plan that can enable you implement your goals. Your goals remain what it is, except you can execute it. You need to have actions that can move you towards seeing the results you want to achieve. So have an action plan, review it. Because when you're doing these things, you're already writing. And when you can think about something, understand something very well, and put it into a written format, my God, you've gotten more than halfway to applying the knowledge. So you sometimes you hear people say, I don't know how to explain. I know it, but I don't know how to explain it to you. You don't know it. Because if you do know it, you would know how to break it down. You would know how to explain it. So when you find yourself in that position where it seems as if you know what you want to say, you can't find the right words, you can't find the right explanation to give, then maybe it's an opportunity for you to go back to the drawing board and get more clarity on the subject matter. You can't apply what you do not understand. So having a deep understanding is one pathway to applying new knowledge. Document, document, document. Whatever comes to your mind, write it, review it. It will form part of your action plan. You want to remain relevant in a world that is moving so fast, right? You want to be flexible. You want to remain in a space where you understand what is happening. You can apply new knowledge and you can also adapt it to the current trend. So application of knowledge is a requirement. You can't stay boxed in that corner, just learning, learning. Some of us have become professional learners, right? We move from one training to the next training, to the next training, to the next training, and we're not applying anything we've learned. And so every time we are wrapping up the Friday night hangout, I will always tell you, what is your commitment to yourself today? What is one thing you're promising yourself you will do as a result of the new learning you have gotten today? And this is very key, that you make a commitment to yourself to apply knowledge. Knowledge application is really very critical. If you've not learned how to apply and apply successfully, then you are still learning. Hi, Angie, Njideka, NJ, welcome. Welcome, Miracle. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about how to remain relevant in a changing world, and we're being specific, looking at applying knowledge. One way you can remain relevant in this fast-paced changing world is to apply the knowledge you've gotten. Always remain committed to your personal development. Always remain committed to it. And one way of remaining committed to your personal development is applying what you have learned. Implement it. Translate it into your everyday life. If you go to upgrade your skills, maybe you're a baker, you've gone to upgrade your skills in icing, you want to practice how to ice. Keep practicing that new method you've been taught until you become a master at it. Consistency, consistency. I remember when I enrolled my daughter Daisy for a baking course. I think it was the last, not this holiday, not the summer holiday, the holiday before this one. Oh my goodness. All the eggs in my house got finished. She kept on practicing. She kept on practicing. And then she was getting feedback. I would say, oh, Mama, you put in too much sugar here. You put in so, and she wasn't just giving it to me. She was giving it to friends, to families. She would say, "You're going to see Grandpa. Give him this one." She would give her. Oh, she said, "Auntie Chomi, have this one." She was baking cake for people, right? She was using my money to bake lots of cake for people. But you know what happened? She was improving her skills because we were all giving her feedback. We're all giving her feedback, and then she was taking that feedback she was getting from us and applying it the next time she was baking. And that's what I'm encouraging us to do today. When you get feedback from trusted friends, from your support system, apply that feedback. Put it into practice. Put it into practice. Sometimes you're just listening. So, oh, I think you do all the learnings, and in your head you can see everything. Your mind has told you what to do, how to do, and you can see the vision perfect. You now find out it's a different ball game altogether when you want to actually practice it. Maybe you watched how they cook this beautiful bitter leaf soup. I said, okay, just add this one, add that one. I know how to do it. And then you buy the ingredients. You want to start cooking. You find yourself referring to the video. I'm like, it's not just this simple soup I watched them do. You know what? That's your first time practicing, or you've not had enough practice. So once you keep practicing, practice. We have a slang that says, practice makes perfect. We keep saying it here. When you practice, consistency breeds, focus. When you keep doing something over and over again, you master it. You become a master at it. So when you see someone that is called a master chef, a master trainer, a master baker, they're not just any baker or chef or trainer. They are master, meaning that they have learned the approaches, the methods. They've understood everything about that area of interest. Not just understanding it, they already know, they are putting it into practice, and they can even translate the knowledge to someone else. When you know that you know something very well, is when you can translate that knowledge, you can transfer it to someone else. So when you understand something very well, either a skill set or an area of competence, when you're very good at it, you can effortlessly transfer that knowledge. So practice, right? Remember, we're talking about applying knowledge. I've given us some keys to help us apply knowledge. And I said the first one is figure out your why. Why do I need to learn this thing? Why did I enroll in this class? Why did I enroll in this coaching session? Once you can figure that out, the next thing for you to do is to hold yourself accountable to your new learnings. Give yourself time frame. By so and so time, I'm going to implement 1, 2, 3. So you keep doing that, you keep getting better at it. And to do that, you need to set short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals. Because in the short term, excuse me, in the short term, because it's just a new area or a new knowledge you've gained, you may not be very proficient in implementing it, but you want to put your feet out, right? You just want to start doing it. And by the time you get yourself invested in it, you get yourself more proficient, you can now move on to your midterm goals. As a result of having built your skill, you want to achieve 1, 2, 3. I remember when I started out with doing live streams, live videos, it was very difficult for me. I didn't even understand what app to use, how to do it. It was just like try and error. And I just kept applying myself until I got to know the best app we could use. We got to integrate it to several other things. And you find out when you know that, you just find yourself diversifying what you can do with the new knowledge you've got. Because the new knowledge you've got, you want to apply it to your personal issues, to social issues, to business issues. You want to apply it in a way that will make you grow. You want to apply it in a way that will make a difference in the environment that you work in. And this is all what constitutes your unique value as a person. So don't take lightly the things you're learning. If you want to remain relevant, you want to be someone in that organization who can apply what has been taught. I agree that we all learn at different pace, right? Some of us are fast learners, some of us are slow learners. But the key thing here, either you're a fast or slow learner, is please apply the knowledge. Apply that knowledge. Apply it to contextual issues. Apply that knowledge to your business, to your personal life, right? You want to apply that knowledge and make it relevant. And by so doing, you're equipping yourself and you're impacting your world. This could be the game changer for someone listening to me. As we're going through, the wrap up months of the year 2023, maybe it's time for you to apply all the lessons you've learned from January to date. And now, when I talk about lessons, not just positive lessons, there are some negative things you went through and you picked out some lessons from there. How do you apply that? You've gone through some experiences, maybe bitter experience, you made some mistakes. And that's why I would always tell you that failure, mistakes are building blocks of success. They can only be building blocks for success when you identify what the gaps are, learn the lessons, and then apply it. So if you do not apply the lessons you got, you will still remain where you are and you still keep making those mistakes. So, for instance, let me use the baking example again. So you've learned how to bake and you saw that the cake that came out was maybe a little bit too soft. You want to check your what do they call it now, your mixture. Maybe you added too much egg, too much milk. So once you identify that, you may need to reduce the quantity, right? So the next time that you're producing, you would be very intentional in reducing the quantity of those stuff you add, knowing that the last time you did, it gave you a very soft or soggy or some kind of the finished product wasn't what you wanted. So it's just by applying. So mistakes being a building block for success can only happen with application of the knowledge. No knowledge is a waste, not at all. It will find relevance in some aspect of your life. The key thing is for you to identify, where can I apply this new knowledge? And that brings us to the first thing I talked about, which is understanding your why. Anyhow you look at it, you understand, why do you need this skill? Why do you need this new knowledge? Why am I in this class? Why are you on Friday night hangout? If you can't understand your why, you will just be wasting your time. And remember that time is a non-renewable currency, meaning that when you spend it, you can't get it back. So you want to be very intentional as to where you apply your time. And also, I'll ask you to journal your experience. Journal your experience from the learning experience to the other experience. You want to journal all of this. You want to journal these experiences so that it can be useful to you and to the next person. So journal your experience. What do I mean by journal? Writing it. I love writing. Don't bother if the writing comes out perfect. Not all of us would be perfect writers. But you know what? There's nothing like even a perfect writer. I don't believe in anything being perfect. As long as it's being done by human, there's going to be an imperfection to it. So you just need to, get comfortable that sometimes what you would do would be less than the standard that you have set for yourself. And until you get comfortable with it, most times you'll be running away from applying the knowledge because you're afraid that one, you may fail, people may mock or laugh at you. And so you run away, you shy away from applying what you've learned. So for instance, you go to a public speaking class, and then your coach, takes you through the rudiments of public speaking and then gives you an assignment and say, go out, go and talk about your brand to 5 persons today and try to market your brand. And then because you're afraid, they would say, what is she talking about? What is he talking about? You feel that you're not talking sense. You will not practice what you've been told. Let me tell you something. If you don't practice it, you would forget it. Applying the knowledge is one way of entrenching that skill, that knowledge in your memory. It makes that thing become part of you. You just keep doing it and it becomes part of you. That's why when you want to break a habit, you have to be intentional about it. Anything you need to do, you have to be intentional about it. And you can't apply knowledge if you're not intentional. So I ask you tonight, I want you to reflect from the beginning of the year, the trainings you've attended, the coaching classes, the mentorship programs, the shows on Friday night, and so many other shows you've watched, your everyday life, right? Your experiential knowledge, what you learn every day by reason of you being you and interacting with people. How are you going to apply them moving forward? I want you to itemize them and I want you to make a commitment to yourself. Write it down. That becomes your action plan. And remember, when we talk about SMART, be specific. Make sure that what you're writing down is measurable because you want to have metrics for measuring your growth, meaning that you want to know if you're moving from point A to point B. So if you're applying the knowledge, how do you know that you're really applying the knowledge? You want to have some metrics for measuring because you want to see your progress. I tell you, when you apply what you have, even if it's micro wins, it gets you excited, it gets you revved up, you want to do more. So also, that's why I talked about midterm, that's why I talked about short, midterm, and long-term goals. And I will also talk about micro goals and macro goals. Don't be afraid to set small goals. Start small. Think big, start small. So you want to apply the knowledge and you know that you're someone that procrastinates, you're someone that finds it difficult to apply new things, start small so you don't feel overwhelmed. So you start small, you make progress there, you're excited, and you move to the next thing. You're excited and you move to the next thing. But you know what? I want you to measure your growth so that when you look back, you can say, I was at point A and now I'm in point D. This is very important because it helps you to stay focused on your lane and it helps you not to keep comparing yourself with the others. Your growth and your success is as a result of where you started from, how you've moved along, and where you are. It is not where Chinelo is right now, no, because you and Chinelo were not at the same point. You did not go through the same challenges. So be nice and kind to yourself. So remember that to remain relevant. So trying to summarize all that we've learned today, I said that absorbing new information is a different ballgame from implementing the new knowledge, right? So what you want to do is to have a strategy to implement the new knowledge. And tonight I shared with us some actionable advice on how to implement some of the knowledge you may get either from your coaching, your experience, your interactions, either you get the learning formally or informally. One of the things I said is figure out your why. Why are you interested in learning that thing, that skill? Oh, I need to register for this coaching program. Answer that question before you jump into that class. Why? Why? Why do I need to be in that class? Why are you on Friday night hangout? When you answer the why, it makes you more intentional about the learning process and the application process. Exactly says you can't apply knowledge if you're not intentional. Exactly. I just says think big, start small. Yes. Apex Product says doing things over and over again, make it a part of you. That's it. Chinelo says exactly that small wins make you excited and also gives one confidence. Amazing. And that's what we're talking about. So be very intentional about it, right? Write it down. Get an accountability partner, but first of all, hold yourself accountable. What you say you will do, is that what you have done? Share the new knowledge with someone, and the person will give you feedback, right? Then practice it. Set an action plan for practicing it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you're one that is always afraid to make mistakes because you think you're going to fail, people will mock you, it doesn't look good on you, please put your ego aside. Just put the ego aside and do the work that needs to be done. Once you can commit to implementing what you've learned, I tell you, the skies will just be the starting point for you. So I hope that you have gotten amazing things from here. Yes, to entrench the knowledge, apply it. That's it. That's really it. So I hope you've gotten some nuggets from our conversation tonight. And before we go, I want to ask you to make a commitment to yourself. What is that one thing you're committing to doing as a result of the conversation we've had tonight? What is that one thing that you're committing to doing as a result of the conversation we've had tonight? Remember, you have to hold yourself accountable. And one way of remaining relevant in this world is to apply your knowledge. When you apply your knowledge, you grow. You just keep growing. You keep impacting. And people will come to you because of the value they get from you. Your value is what will draw people to you, right? So remain relevant in the changing world by applying your knowledge. I hope you got value. I want to know what you're taking out of tonight's session. Use the comment section. Put it in the comment section. Yes, 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 yes. Keep it coming in. That's great. That's great. Keep it coming in. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Friday. Make it a date again. Remember, apply the knowledge. I love you, honor and celebrate you. And remember, you're unique. No one can do you like you can do yourself. You're in competition with no one but yourself. You just need to give yourself the opportunity and the permission to be the best version of yourself. See you next week. And I just says, do it. That's it. Fear of making mistakes is a very big challenge of applying knowledge. Great, great, great. Keyword is practice makes perfect. Keep it coming in, and I'll see you next week, Friday. From me and my team is bye for now, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.